Caitlin Clark has made the team. Shocker, I know. The real question is, are the coaches going to have the guts to do what's right and make her the starting point guard? Are the coaches going to have the guts and do what's right to make her the starting point guard?
Mitchell, be mad at me. I don't care. Alyssa Thomas didn't make the team either. Oh, shit. I know who I would remove for Alyssa Thomas. I'm not telling you. Y'all not attacking me.
World Cup. Now, when it comes to the ATL Barbie Angel Reese, I just want to wake this up because there were so many people, so many haters who said that, yeah, Angel's just going to be a model. She's just going to do her brand thing. She's not going to take the league serious. And not only is she taking the league seriously, she was selected for Team USA to represent the country in the World Cup. And if that's not a testament that you can do it all and don't let not a single soul on this planet box you in, I don't know what else can do that for you.
Caitlin Clark was added to Team USA as a confirmed name on the roster, not as a camp invite or a possibility pending final cuts. She's also not merely taking a seat on the bench, based on all evidence now being addressed. She is being positioned as the point guard, the engine, and perhaps even the captain, the player who will be the focal point of the offense this summer. You would assume everyone would be excited about such an announcement. Rather, the response divided the basketball internet in half within minutes. This tweet began circulating almost instantly, and before we continue, it's worth reading in its entirety. Because of her idol-worshipping admirers, I personally wouldn't have chosen Caitlin Clark. They will harass the coach and her teammates in person and on social media if Caitlin doesn't receive the playing time or scoring opportunities they believe she is due. They'll fabricate stories and make a mess. Her teammates may be in grave risk due to her attachment to a level of toxicity. That's more than simply a 12-follower troll account posting a controversial opinion to get attention. Some basketball fans and broadcasters were openly discussing this critique. Not even the fact that someone believes this critique is the most bizarre aspect. After Clark's name was added to the roster, it became one of the most widely shared reactions since so many people seem to agree with the attitude.
I don't know if these stats is true or not, and honestly, I ain't watched enough of the W this year to really get into the Caitlin Clark banter, but I will say this. There are a lot of great hoopers in the league, and Caitlin Clark is indeed a great hooper. I seen somebody in the comments say, y'all just hate her because she white. That's false. I personally dislike Caitlin because she reminds me of all the white women that I don't like. The women that be like, they'll run up to somebody and damn near smack you to try to get their way and then point your direction and point the cops right to you and be like, he pushed me. No, ma'am, I was standing here first.
That's the bit that's so difficult to understand. This isn't a contentious selection where the numbers don't support it. If you squint, you might be able to appreciate the reluctance. In terms of assists, Clark dominated the league. She's also possibly the biggest attraction the sport has ever produced. Over the last 2 seasons, she has regularly shown that she is capable of taking over a game and improving everyone around her. However, the response to her joining Team USA appears to be more about individuals lamenting something they feel they've lost than it is about excitement for a stacked squad.
With the World Cup roster being announced this morning, what does it mean to you to be on that roster for the first time?
Yeah, obviously really exciting. Anytime you wear USA across your chest, it's a tremendous honor, and to be surrounded by so many great players, some of which have already won Olympic gold medals, some have been on the World Cup team before, and obviously I get to share it with AB too, so it's pretty cool and pretty fun, and I'm excited about it. Obviously, I got a ways to go to get there. August is a really, really busy month. It's a big month for us. It's a challenging month. We play a lot of really good teams, so take it one day at a time, but just a big honor, and I'm really excited.
So let's tackle the question that no one likes to answer out loud. Are some WNBA fans, and occasionally some media outlets, truly angry that the nation's top point guard was selected for the national team? When you take away all the background noise, that's what this boils down to. Although that is the framing being employed, it is really not about toxicity. Even if fan behavior is frequently used as an excuse, it's not actually about that either. It has to do with the possibility that Caitlin Clark is one of the guards in charge. And other individuals just don't want it to happen, for whatever reason.
Caitlin, girl, what are you doing? Who told you you could go 1v1 with Asia Wilson? I want to know. I used to say I want to move through the world like a mediocre white man because their confidence is through the roof, no matter what. I want this confidence. I want to know what it is because that was Asia Wilson and it did not end well. And then she said, ooh, we in Gamebridge. They gonna call this flop, but they didn't. Girl, ain't nobody touch you.
Take a moment to consider what Team USA would truly look like without her, since that is where the entire discussion should begin. Aya Wilson, a multi-time MVP and the cornerstone of Team USA's offensive and defensive strategies, is a tremendous player and possibly the best all-around talent in the game. The star power on this team quickly diminishes after her. Both the roster and the players on it are not insulted by that. That's just the way things are. There is depth on Team USA. There are veterans there. Due to years of dominance, it has a championship pedigree. However, it lacks a second real needle mover. A second player who can sell out an arena by name alone before a single possession is played. That player is Clark. Completely stop. Currently, she's the only player on this roster who can persuade casual viewers, non-basketball enthusiasts, and entire families to turn on the TV and pay attention to a WNBA game.
Caitlin Clark should be the logo of the WNBA and the NBA. After the 2024-25 NBA season, people were complaining that the ratings were collapsing. The storyline of Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese was better than anything that the NBA had produced in years, so everybody watched the WNBA. Caitlin Clark pulled everybody back into watching basketball. The following year in 2025 and 2026, the NBA had double the viewership in the NBA Finals because people are now buying storylines again. The same way that people wanted to see Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, people want to see Victor Wembanyama versus the New York Knicks. Caitlin Clark saved the NBA's viewership. So what Caitlin Clark did for basketball is bigger than just women's college basketball and the WNBA. Caitlin Clark should be the logo of the NBA because nobody would be watching the NBA at all if it weren't for Caitlin Clark.
Furthermore, that is not a topic of discussion that was created out of thin air. Ticket sales, attendance statistics, and general audience interest can all be used to gauge it. Attendance at arenas that host Caitlin Clark has frequently increased significantly over the past 2 seasons when compared to prior games. Imagine the same impact applied to a major international competition, the Olympics, or a stage that attracts even more attention than a road trip during the regular season. Without her, you're looking at sizable crowds made up mostly of ardent basketball fans and WNBA supporters who are always going to turn out. Sellouts, higher streaming numbers, and the casual fans the sport has been attempting to draw for years finally coming in are all possible outcomes with her. Therefore, the logical issue that arises when someone claims that the team would be better off without her is, better off, exactly? Because it's hard to argue that eliminating one of the sport's biggest draws will automatically benefit its exposure or growth. And it's certainly not clear that the team would be better off financially.
Are the coaches going to have the guts to do what's right and make her the starting point guard? Are the coaches going to have the guts and do what's right to make her the starting point guard? I don't agree with it, but I can at least see the argument during qualifiers, right? Okay, she missed a whole season. She's coming back from injury. We haven't seen her play for a while. All right, we'll start with Chelsea Gray, and then Caitlin Clark will come in and be the backup. I don't agree with it, but I can at least see the argument, right? I can try to see the reasoning. But going into the actual World Cup itself, in the middle of the WNBA season, while Caitlin Clark is absolutely destroying the league, while Caitlin Clark is clearly the best point guard in the league, and with no Olivia Miles for them to agenda themselves into putting as the starting point guard over her, there's absolutely no way that Caitlin Clark doesn't start, right?
This is where things get fascinating, because, regardless of how it is presented on television, this isn't really a basketball dispute at its core. Nobody is seriously analyzing Clark's assist totals, shooting effectiveness, and winning influence, and drawing the conclusion that the team would inevitably perform worse with her on the roster. When you take a hard look at her performance, that argument becomes challenging. Discomfort with what Clark stands for is what you're really hearing, albeit in various words depending on the speaker and the platform. She is still relatively new on the global scene. Alongside former MVPs, numerous champions, and players who have been representing USA basketball for the better part of 10 years, she is likely to enter this setting and almost instantly become one of the most talked about players on the whole roster. Even if her choice turns out to be the best basketball choice in the end, some individuals find it hard to accept that fact.
Not putting Caitlin Clark on the U.S. women's basketball team is one of the biggest failures of basic business that I can remember ever seeing in the modern world of sports. Over the weekend, Caitlin Clark sold out Washington, D.C.'s arena. Over 20,000 people showed up. They're all showing up for Caitlin Clark. WNBA viewership, it all is coming basically from Caitlin Clark. She would triple the overall ratings for these games by herself, and due to her popularity, she would make others popular who were playing alongside of her. With the WNBA and women's basketball begging for attention for decades, they have gotten an opportunity, the likes of which we haven't seen. Caitlin Clark is a comet streaking across the night sky, and instead of embracing her star power, you know what they've done? They have decided they would rather be a tiny league that is getting a fraction of the attention it otherwise should be.
This is the point at which the narrative truly carries some weight. Because Clark has dealt with this same conversation before. Do you recall the previous rejection? Even though she performed well in comparison to a number of guards who were eventually selected, do you recall the time she was completely left off the roster during her rookie season? Experience, chemistry, and the need to avoid upsetting an established group of veterans were the reasons given at the time. All right. Perhaps you could give it a chance at that particular moment. However, that choice didn't hold up very well. Although the tournament's ratings were decent, they fell short of what many might have anticipated from a competition that featured the biggest rising star in the sport. Additionally, the "what if" debate lingered in the background of fan debates and broadcasts, following that squad throughout the competition. This time is different. And it's different in a way that matters to her professional story. This time, Clark is given the chance she was previously denied. With something to prove, she gets to wear a USA shirt. As a guard, the coaching staff can rely on to contribute significantly to the offense from the start, not just as an extra piece added for marketing purposes or as a name introduced to sell a few more shirts. If there has ever been a story of redemption in contemporary athletics, that one is it. And regardless of your own favorite player, it's the kind of story that basketball fans should find thrilling.
Through the heart of the WNBA season, Caitlin Clark has been really finding her groove. Last night, she notched her first triple-double of the season. Nice win on the road against Portland. She made a couple really high-difficulty shots, got to the free-throw line a ton. But as usual, what impressed me most was her vision with the ball in her hand. Check out this play. The Fever love to run her off-ball screens. Here she has sort of a double screen, so she can decide to go left or... The key here is keeping her eyes up. They are hard hedging that screen with the big, and meanwhile, Mo Billings is slashing to the basket. She has to be able to throw it over the top, find her hand, and set her up for the basket. Same thing here without the screen. She and Kelsey Mitchell are reading the defense. As soon as the big locks eyes with Caitlin, Mitchell's cutting back door. Clark has to keep her eyes up to see that and make the bounce pass. Great ball handlers keep their eyes up. They love to set her up with this high screen so she can just dump that ball to space and then make the read. Helps a lot when you have Aaliyah Boston on your team. She can go get a bucket pretty much whenever she wants.
Because when she's leading an offense at a high level, let's be honest about what she really adds to the floor. This is a player who can pull up and shoot from ranges that force defenses to extend farther than they're comfortable with, sees passing lanes before they even fully open up, and has demonstrated at the professional level that she can improve the players around her rather than just accumulating meaningless stats on her own. You won't necessarily be looking at a downgrade if you place her next to Aya Wilson in the post. This could be one of the riskiest two-player combinations that USA basketball has had in a long time. There is one player who can dominate inside against almost anyone, and there is another who can push defenders to the three-point line and thread the needle to the open player. That isn't a contentious basketball opinion disguised as analysis. With very talented players on the team, That's just what good coaches do.
If I was on the committee, I would have put her on the team. I was surprised. I think that we are having two different conversations. If you are talking about who should be on the roster based off of who makes the best team and who is the best to represent the United States of America as the U.S. Women's Olympic basketball team, that is a separate conversation from what would be the best for growing the sport. I am with all of you. The attention that the sport is getting is because of Caitlin Clark. She is bringing eyeballs, she is bringing sponsors, she is putting people in the seats, she is causing all of this conversation. She is. So from a growing the sport perspective, from a marketing perspective, from a business perspective, I completely agree. You can't argue the numbers. But from a basketball perspective, you can't. And what is conflicting for me, as a female athlete myself, when do we talk about the sport and not just the novelty and the drama and the eyeballs and the ratings and the division and the politics and the race? And all of those things are great for these shows, and all these things are great for social media, and all these things are great for the national debate around Caitlin Clark, which is fueling a lot of what's happening here. So I'm with it. Like, I've been doing this a long time. This is an entertainment business. I am aware of that. And that's why we get into it about who's going to be the face all the time. I'm like, yeah, this is a great player, but do they have polarity? Do they have spice? Do they have tension? Do they bring something to the table that makes you feel?
Additionally, this is something that needs to be made clear because it is often overlooked in favor of the fan side of the debate. Many of the league's real players and coaches haven't responded in the same way that some fans obviously have. Many of them have openly stated that Clark deserved this position and games. Her stats are self-evident. The argument is straightforward. She has been consistently giving productivity for the past 2 seasons, and the game ultimately honors production. This isn't necessarily a player versus player disconnect. It can occasionally appear more like fans versus players, or more precisely, a particular group of fans who have strong feelings about Clark's rise versus the basketball pros whose job it is to assess quality on the floor, despite what the headlines may suggest. This distinction is important because it helps us understand the source of a large portion of online rage. It doesn't necessarily originate in the locker room. Timelines, comment sections, and online discussions with individuals who have developed strong opinions regarding Clark's accomplishment are the main sources of this information. Additionally, some people no longer see that achievement as a sign of the sport's ongoing development, but rather as something to be criticized.
There was so much controversy. Caitlin should be on this team. Caitlin Clark shouldn't be on this team. You've been a part of it, and then people talked about it's the team that you mentioned. You don't have time to play together. Did Team USA miss the boat in not putting Caitlin Clark on this team?
You know, it's really tough. I think every Olympic cycle, there's a story of a snub, and it is because the talent is so great. Yes. I could sit here and make an argument for her being on the team, but that would require me to take somebody off. And when I look at this roster, I don't see myself doing that. If Caitlin had made the team and somebody else had gotten snubbed, right, and I could have made that argument, I would have looked at the roster and I wouldn't have been able to take anybody off. So that's the challenge of picking the U.S. women's basketball team. That's why we win gold, and that's why I'm hoping to see another one.
A portion of Clark's fan base has occasionally gone too far. There have been reports of referees making routine calls, supporters making nasty personal insults on rival players, and even teammates who they believe aren't giving Clark the ball enough in close games. That's a serious issue for any fan base, and it shouldn't be ignored because it's difficult to openly admit. Nobody has ever requested such behavior on her behalf, not even Clark. Additionally, she has responded to questions regarding the matter in public on several occasions. The point that is nearly always overlooked in this discussion is that it is illogical to punish the player for the behavior of a portion of her fan base while making roster decisions. Every major sport's great athlete has a fringe of followers that go too far both online and, occasionally, offline. At its core, that is not necessarily a Clark-specific problem. Fans of almost every prominent star in any major league can experience this more widespread issue with contemporary sports fanaticism, which is exacerbated by social media algorithms. It is a complicated argument to use fan conduct as an excuse for why Clark shouldn't have joined the team or why Team USA would be better off without her. One is a problem with fan behavior that merits its own discussion and practical answers. The other is a basketball decision about who will provide Team USA the best chance to win gold and contribute to the worldwide expansion of the sport. No matter how much some parts of this discourse seek to combine them into a more coherent story, those are not the same conversation.
The FIBA team got announced today. I don't know if you got a chance to see. Were there any things that surprised you on the list?
You know, keeping it local, you know, Sabrina not being on there, Olivia Miles not being on there, but you know, who you take off?
When there's only 12, it's almost like what happens with All-Star, where it's like, what do we do if you're trying to say somebody else goes on? Who you pulling off? And so that's always just the tough list when you have such deep talent.
100%, and may it stay this difficult for, you know, and I know it will. We all know it will for 100,000 years. Yep. Right? It should only ever get harder from here for as long as, you know, some people don't pull any shenanigans with Title IX and any of that jive. Like we just stay the course, and you know, because boy oh boy, you can't help but look at the bigs on Seattle and be like, well, maybe not tonight, but 2 years from tonight. Good as me.
Well, they'll be there on another country's team, but they'll be there.
Does the absence of Caitlin Clark truly break the team? Remove the noise. Remove the tweets. Eliminate any fan turmoil and view it solely from the core perspective of basketball and business, as this is the true nature of international competitiveness at this level. Without her, your roster mostly relies on Aya Wilson, a true worldwide superstar, and a strong seasoned supporting cast. However, there is a clear disparity between public awareness and raw star power. You have a second offensive engine when you include Clark, a player who can find cutters in traffic, control tempo, and pull up from way beyond the arc when a defender lets her down even a little. Arriving on the largest stage the sport can offer, you are one of the biggest needle movers in women's basketball in the contemporary period in terms of eyeballs, ticket demand, jersey sales, and mainstream interest.
The lineup that I'm most interested in seeing, and I think this actually should be our starting lineup: Caitlin Clark, Nafisa Collier, Asia Wilson, Paige Beckers, and Breanna Stewart. This lineup is roadkill. Oh, roadkill. Overkill. This lineup is disgusting. You got CC with weapons like Fee, Asia, Paige, and this is it. The floor spacing. Nafisa Collier can actually finish around the rim. Stewie, long leg, he can finish. Defensively, funneling your matchup into Asia Wilson, funneling your matchup into Fee, funneling your matchup into Breanna Stewart. This lineup should be utter destruction, and this should be the starting five.
All of that does not result in a team that is in any way worse off. It results in a squad that might be far more visible off the court and more dangerous on the court, just when the sport most needs both of those qualities. Even when they skillfully disguise their disagreement as a basketball argument for a panel discussion or comment section, those who are arguing otherwise aren't necessarily doing so. They are responding to the notion that Clark could be the captain, the star, and the name at the very center of the marquee in addition to being the guard who controls the show. And some individuals seem to be more bothered by that particular thought than they should be, for whatever reason. Team USA was formed by Caitlin Clark. She is probably going to be one of the most talked about players on the entire team going into competition this summer. She might be the starting point guard and possibly even captain. She didn't have this opportunity the last time, and the tournament provided ample opportunity for what-if discussions. She does get the chance this time. If the basketball world has learned anything over the past 2 years, it's that it hasn't exactly been a dependable strategy to bet against what Caitlin Clark can do when given a significant opportunity.